The SecretLab Magnus Desk that I did a video on a while ago was an awesome desk that just didn't fit my needs at the time. The desk that I've been using has been a huge sit-stand desk, and I mean, I stream, I edit videos, I game at the desk, so I have a lot of stuff going on. Lots of cables, lots of monitors, lots of stuff. The Magnus just didn't seem capable of handling all of my cables and peripherals, even though it had some really cool features that I liked a lot. Well, enter the SecretLab Magnus Pro. They basically filled in all of the gaps. Everything that I felt was missing is here. So I decided to switch to this desk and see if it was better or worse than my previous one. I've been using it for a while now. This video has taken me kind of a long time. I've been putting it off a bit, but I think that I've got a pretty good idea of what I like and dislike. So if you're considering this desk, this video should help you decide. My previous desk was an Uplift Standing Desk, and I've had it for a couple of years. I've really enjoyed the desk, but I've had to replace each of the legs because the motors died at some point, which ended up causing the desk to lower on its own. When left in a raised position, I'd come back to it, it'd be kind of crooked. They cover the replacements under warranty, and they were very fast about it, but obviously I would have much preferred that the legs just didn't die on me and I didn't have to go through that. So the warranty on the SecretLab desk is 5 years, but Uplift has a crazy long, like 15-year warranty. That's a long time. That's a long time for a desk. The SecretLab Magnus Pro comes in two different sizes. I got the larger of the two. It's 70 inches wide compared to my current my previous desk, which was 72 inches. So I'm losing an inch on each side making this switch. But despite the desk being just slightly narrower, I don't actually see this as a huge problem because the outer edges of my desk usually just end up as free space to put stuff that I should actually put away. I know myself. I just shouldn't have so much free desk space. Maybe that's, I don't know. I have issues. Another reason that I didn't really miss the 1 inch on either side is because of how I have my monitor placed. It's kind of low and it makes it an awkward place to put stuff anyway. So maybe I'm just coping because it's a little bit smaller and I want to feel good about it, but the desk is still wide enough to not feel cramped, and it has enough space to mount all of the stuff that I need to mount. Both of these desks, the Uplift and the SecretLab, are just expensive, but I kind of classify them in a more premium, kind of higher end desk. There are still some that are more expensive, but there are cheaper options out there. The Uplift desk was around $1,000 after all of the options and add-ons, and the SecretLab desk is $949 for the XL and $799 for the smaller size, which is 59 inches wide. The absolute cheapest standing desk that you can get from Uplift is $599, which would get you a desk that's 42 inches wide. A big difference in the pricing is what you choose as the actual desktop material. For an Uplift desk, the basic materials are included in the price, but the fancier materials add to the price. Who would have figured? With SecretLab, the desk is all metal, and that actually plays a part in the accessories for the desk, which I'm gonna cover later. There are no wood options with the SecretLab Magnus, so you just have metal. Assembly of the Uplift wasn't a bad experience, but it wasn't a good one either. I don't have footage of it because I made it a long time ago, but you basically assemble the legs and then attach the tops to the desktop. If I remember correctly, some of the holes required that I actually drilled into the desk and some were already there. It was just a standard no frills assembly, just standard desk assembly. At this point, I've opened and assembled a lot of SecretLab products, and I've got to say that the experience of unboxing and building their products is among the nicest of any brand I've ever dealt with. Their packaging is always sleek and clean and no styrofoam peanuts or styrofoam at all, which is a huge deal for me. I hate dealing with styrofoam. It just ends up crumbling and getting everywhere, and it's like part of the process is vacuuming up afterwards, and then it sticks to the plastic or the metal, and I absolutely hate dealing with styrofoam. I hate it. SecretLab is a premium brand, and when you open their products, you definitely feel like you're opening a premium product. Their assembly continues to be the easiest and most straightforward process with clearly labeled pieces, easy instructions, and parts that go together extremely well. Nothing feels like I have to force it in there, or it's not a difficult process. The desk is heavy as hell though, so 2 people is recommended. I almost died getting it down the stairs. It's true. This is dangerous, it's scary. Anyway, I started switching over to the new desk, and let me say, I already knew that I had a lot of cables, but when I took everything apart, that's when it really hit me. I have a lot of cables. The cable management that I used with the Uplift desk was basically this big cloth panel that hangs from the back of the desk and has a Velcro cover, so you just throw all the cables in there and close it up. It's a very easy method, but it has a lot of drawbacks. If you have a lot of cables, it starts to get really heavy and the Velcro closure just struggles to stay attached. Aside from this, it just looks kind of meh. It's just doesn't have that clean, sleek look. It looks like you just have a big black panel at the back of your desk. It just isn't particularly nice looking. The Magnus Pro is designed with cable management as a priority. The desk has a built-in tray with a door on top. The tray is deep enough to shove a ton of cables in there, and you could also fit a power strip in there as well. I use an uninterruptible power supply. I'm just gonna say UPS. So I just route all of my power cables out of the tray and into the UPS. Because of this, I don't actually use the outlet that's built into the desk, which is a super cool feature, but let's be honest, most of you should probably be using a UPS. Protect your stuff, man. It is expensive and you don't want it to blow up. And a power strip just isn't enough. If you didn't have a lot of stuff, cool feature, I'm glad it's there, but be safe. In addition to the tray, you can also purchase their cable management bundle, which comes with Velcro ties and cable sheaths, which you use to cover and route the cables along the back of the leg, and some cable anchors, which you can use if you want to temporarily route a cable like a phone charger or something. That way it doesn't just fall off the side of your desk. It just sticks there with magnets. It's cool. Well, there's a lot of magnets with this desk. With all of these tools, I was able to manage everything really well, and the finished product looked way, way cleaner than my previous desk. The underside of my desk, it's pretty nice. It looks amazing. The cable management tray is a really cool feature, but because of the built-in tray, mounting things to the back of the desk can be a little bit difficult. So it's nice that SecretLab developed their own monitor arms that work with the desk. Again, the packaging of these arms was premium and the assembly was super easy. I've assembled a bunch of monitor arms from different brands, and this was the easiest amongst all of the ones that I've put together. Mounting it to the desk is done from the top. The tray system means that if you have to tighten it from the bottom, like most mounts, then you don't have a ton of space to do that. So it's possible, as you can see with the Elgato mounts that I have installed, but it was a bit of a pain in the ass. Another thing that I really liked was the mounting plate for the monitor. You mount it to the VESA mount on your monitor, and then you snap it into the arm. Usually it's the other way around. I usually had to bolt the arm to the monitor, which can be a little cumbersome because you bolt it and you have this big heavy arm sticking off, and then you place it in there. Whereas this, you just bolt it to the monitor and then it's super easy. This method does make for easy installation or removal. Once your monitor is mounted, the arms have some magnetic covers to conceal your cables. It was a bit annoying with larger cables, but it's not impossible, and the finished product looks really nice. Now, that being said, there is one big thing that I dislike about them, and this might be a make it or break it for some people. On other monitor arms, you usually have a pole mounted to the desk, and then the arm mounts to that pole. The SecretLab arms connect directly to the mount. So it's the mount on the table, arm, whereas normally like that. Now, with the pole, you have more adjustability to raise the entire arm. With the SecretLab design, you have less vertical adjustability, and at its highest, I felt like I just wanted a little bit more. It's high enough to use my monitors ergonomically and comfortably, but it did force me to change some things about my desk setup because I didn't have as much space underneath it anymore. Now, overall, I do like the arms, and they complement the design and aesthetics of the desk, but I would just like to see them come up with a solution to the lack of height adjustment. The desk options may be limited to just metal as opposed to wood, but they do offer a bunch of different desk mats to suit different aesthetics and styles. These aren't just regular mats either. They perfectly fit the entire surface of the desk, and they're entirely magnetic, which was surprising the first time I saw it. I still can't quite get used to it. The whole damn thing is just one big thin magnet. They suggest this method of installation to roll it out perfectly, but I was unable to do it correctly like the first, second, and third try. I ended up spending more time than I'd like to admit adjusting this and moving it to be placed correctly. It's possible that I am just bad at this, but it's also possible that it's just not as easy to do as it should be. Now, I like the idea of being able to change out the look of your desk with these different mats, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you that after setting everything up and mounting things to the desk and all that, there's absolute 0% chance that I am gonna remove it just to change the magnetic desk mat. It's just not happening. It's way too much work for me. I would prefer to just swap out different custom mouse pads on top of the installed mat, which is a little bit of a bummer because I'm not super crazy about the red stitching. I would prefer just black stitching, but that is a SecretLab theme. They offer different ones, so I would just say get the one that you want from the get-go, because after you mount stuff, you're not gonna wanna take it all off. Instead, like I said, I am just going to be using different custom desk mats that I have purchased. I have a bunch of them, and they really help to change out the look of my desk when I want to switch it up. Speaking of desk mats, that brings me to something else that I'm not super happy about with this desk. It is a little bit shallower, so it doesn't have as much depth. It's 1 inch shorter on either side, a little bit shallower, so one, that doesn't give me as much space to fully support my arms, which is the more ergonomic way to have your desk set up, but also the desk mats that I'm using, which is kind of like the standard over large desk mat size, it just barely fit on there. It went right up to the little shelf that I have on my desk. Now, I wouldn't have this problem if I didn't use the shelf, then I would have plenty of space, but I like the shelf. I like using it, so I wanted to make it work, and I was able to make it work, but it's something to keep in mind depending on how deep the desk is that you have now. SecretLab offers a few more accessories for the desk, such as the magnetic headphone holder that snaps to the bottom of the desk, and I absolutely love this thing. I recommend it 100%. They also have an RGB strip made by Nanoleaf. This has some basic smart home functionality and installs magnetically into the tray. It's bright and easy to install, and I prefer it to my previous Philips Hue light strip that I just had stuck to the back of the desk. They also offer a PC mount, which I don't have, but it looks pretty awesome. I don't have it, so I can't tell you if it's worth it. With everything swapped over, cable managed, and tweaked to my liking, there are a few things that I like and dislike. On my previous desk, I purchased a small drawer that mounts to the bottom of the desk. I love having a place to store small items I want nearby, and it helps reduce clutter. If I wanted to do this with a Magnus, I'd have to drill into metal, and I'd have to be careful not to go all the way through since the desk is really thin. I'd like to see them develop some sort of storage solution for these desks. Now, I do still have the drawer from the Grove-made shelf that I mentioned earlier, so I've been using that in the meantime, but I really do miss just having something that I can dump stuff into. I was asked by a friend to compare the desk Wobble to my Uplift desk, and both desks have a significant amount of wobble when at the full standing height. I think that this is just unavoidable with a desk that is only on 2 legs. If this is a big concern for you, I'd recommend a standing desk with 4 legs, but once you get to 4 legs, they get crazy expensive. At lower heights, both desks felt rock solid, no wobble at all. The raising and lowering of each desk is similar, but the uplift is noticeably louder. The controls on the Magnus Pro look really nice with how seamless they are, but they do have less available presets. For me, that's not really a big deal. I need like 2, maybe 3. I have one at the height that I use it, I have my standing height, and then I have the lowest height possible. So after it's all said and done, which do I prefer? It's this desk, it's the Magnus Pro. In my opinion, the finished setup looks cleaner, and I love all of the features and accessories that this desk has. If I had a simpler setup, or if I wanted a desk that was just for regular use and not gaming, then the Magnus Pro or regular would probably be overkill. It's an expensive desk, and I don't think that you should stretch your dollar just to get this desk. I definitely think that it fits a gamer aesthetic without being too try-hard. I've seen a lot of gamer desks and they just look tacky most of the time. This has the functionality of a well-made sit-to-stand desk, but it provides solutions to things that gamers tend to prioritize, like cable management, peripheral storage, and aesthetics. It's not perfect, but neither was my Uplift. It feels less like I lost overall functionality and more like I traded some problems for different problems, with the overall experience being slightly better. They're both fine options, I like both of them, but for my purposes, I prefer the Magnus. And if you have a similar use case to me, then I think you'd also prefer it. There's a link in the description if you want to check it or anything else I mentioned in this video out, so peace.
I guess what bothers me is when you have people who try to justify it or to excuse it. Okay, he went